Evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. We're back once again for another episode of The Lion's Den. It's myself, Tony, captain of Team England. Once again, joined by Chris, vice captain of Team England. Evening, Chris.
Hello everyone. How you doing, Tony?
I'm not doing too bad, but for our sins, we decided to dip into the applicant pool once again, and we've dredged through the bottom. We found what is his name? I've been asked to call him Nassim, top of the food chain for Shane. That's right.
God.
It's the guard player that everybody wants to hear from. Nas, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you for very much having me on.
Well, thanks for joining us because you are going to an event that me and Chris have got proper sad feels about that we're both not able to attend. This episode we're going to be talking about the Pyra Cup, which is an upcoming team event, WTC style in Poland. It's going to be featuring some of I would say, the top teams in the world in terms of the WTC kind of history and meta as we look at it. So some really exciting stuff there. Been a couple of weeks since we last spoke to everybody. We were all actually at the ITT, weren't we?
We were, yeah.
How did you guys
Great
find
times.
it?
Naz, let you take that one.
Yeah. No, it was great. It was, I'll say tough event for some of the teams running into. Took Warmasters all the way until we played Ignite. I think we lost by 3 or 4 points, So we were very close round in the end. But yeah, no, great teams we played against.
Warmasters is a big 40k club based. Where were you guys based?
Yeah, well, like London, like Hertfordshire, Surrey area, so like London, like Greater London, and and I know there's some of us a little bit further up north in Leeds, but
Nothing wrong with being north of Birmingham, Naz. You take those.
mate, it's north of the M25. It's just savages everywhere.
Take that disgusted toad out your mouth. Random aside there, but so you guys had a good time. How did your other teams fare?
Yeah, so I actually don't know because I was
Nassim, captain of Team A, cares not for the peons in the other team. There we go. Not in my team. Don't care. Oh well, I'll cut over to Chris then because I do know how he did with Team Glasshammer. Did you have a good weekend, Chris?
Yeah, we had a great time. I think we went 4-1 in the end. Lost to the third place team. Dice down. So that was just by 1 point.
Oh,
it was a close one. It was close.
I think that. Yeah, that you had a great run, but you had. Did you manage to get a good pairing because you had a draw that was a win, but came up as a draw on the BCP? So you guys nearly got a better draw one round, or did they redraw that?
Yeah, so we got we had a 51-point win as well. But because of the way BCP was working, it wasn't allowing a 51-point win to show as a win, so it came up as a draw. And then they changed it at the end of the event to be a win. Because the rules pack was, if you 51 points, you win. But they couldn't get BCP to work, so yeah.
I think that's one of those things. Unless you set it up beforehand with BCP, it's done. That's it. The event's already.
It doesn't like teams. It doesn't like doing teams BCP really.
No, and tonight we're going to talk about another website that's used a lot for WTC, Tourney Keeper, because it's somewhere that certainly for when we talk about Pyra, there's lots of things there. Arguably, it's simpler, so it's more functional for teams, but BCP is just easier and quicker to share with apps and web access and stuff. And we lost in the final to Ignite, who played really well, I must say. Didn't go into the pairings feeling like it was really bad, but we had a draw and a small win that turned out to be a drubbing and a small loss, which was not good. And then all the other games kind of came in on their points, really. So we had a great weekend. We didn't really. I think there's always somebody in each round who got like a draw, but we never really got anybody lost the game until we hit that last round. So we had a really great weekend. It was my sad time to say goodbye to Triple Night Spinner. It was delightful. I actually made grown men rage, and it was so much fun.
Although you say that, Tony, that I've seen you writing lists with Triple Night Spinner since the data slate. So
I mean, it's if I could drop one unit of Hawks, I can get them back in. They're still good. The thing about that list is the damage from range is still annoying and spiky, and you can't plan for it. I could roll no sixes all game and just curse myself. Yep. I could roll all the sixes and ruin your Land Raider first turn, and it's still.
And there. Now you just swap the Incarn for triple D cannon. Well, hey, 6 indirect pieces. Let's go. What a fun meta!
I shouldn't share any more army lists with you. Right, so we should carry on, though, because tonight is not about how broken Eldar is. I'll do another episode on that, maybe just me on my own, talking to myself. But for now, we're talking about the Pyra Cup, the Pyra Cup Nations 2024, as it is called, on Tourney Keeper. So Tourney Keeper is a website you guys can find for free access. You might have to make an account to sign up to see some of the lists and things.
I don't think you do. I'm not logged in at the minute.
You're
I can
not
see it
logged in?
all. So
Perfect.
no, I'm not logged in.
So there is loads of functionality with that in terms of getting access to the lists and things we're going to talk about tonight. So anything I share with you on screen, you can see. But Pyra Cup, this is the first time they've run it in this format. It's originally started, I think, as a bit of a test bed for Team Poland. We obviously, as England, as part of Wales, Scotland, Northern Ireland, and Belgium have historically had the Six Nations, which when we hosted it in 2019, we expanded up to 8 to make it a bit more competitive, to give us the facility to have 2 pods of 4 and get a proper WTC style weekend. That's historically around Easter time. And the Polish have long wanted to come to that, but it's expensive for them to come, and they didn't really feel like it was worth it, depending on some of the venues. So they've done their own one. And there's going to be 2 Polish teams, which is a mixture of some of their veterans and famous names from their winning team last year and previous years. Then there's going to be some amazing teams across Europe. So they've got Belgium, us, England, sending a team, France, Scotland, Netherlands, and USA, who are making a big journey to send over a real mixture of, again, quite famous names, well-known names of the 40k scene, both here and abroad, to really get the measure of it. And I think there's lots of really strong teams there because people want to see, are the players that are applying for the team WTC ready? And this is probably as close as you get short of April for home nations. And we're going to send another team to that and do our last bits of testing for selection there. So it's a 8-team event, 8-man WTC teams, WTC terrain, WTC missions, no tweaks from last year. You can find all that on the WTC kind of website. And without further ado, I am going to switch over to that input. He says not having that set up, so I'll just quickly change that to
amateur hour.
Well, okay. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Okay, so there we have Tourney Keeper, and you can see who's playing what, and you can literally just click on the player, get the list, and it is right there for you to break down. It is really interesting to get a good snapshot of kind of where these teams are obviously trying or testing. I think they're not necessarily set in stone as these are going to be their 8 lists for WTC.
Yeah, there's a mix. There's definitely a mix.
Yeah, and I've spoken to some of the captains, and there's a captain's WhatsApp, and people message me privately to say, some are testing players, some are testing theory, some have been testing preparation to see if people actually can do the things they need to do to get there. But those are the teams that it is an incredibly stacked roster. So first impressions, what do you two think about the overall kind of state of list that we've seen? So we're going to have a look at that in a second and look at the breakdowns of what teams are bringing. But what's your first impression for both of you?
I think there's not too many surprises. I think the main surprise is that only half the teams have brought guard, and that may be due to player availability. I think Poland don't have Skark, who would definitely be running guard. I think he's at the Italian Masters. That's the main.
Probably beating Nassim, to be honest with you, because that's when Nassim.
Absolutely no chance, mate. No chance.
Obviously, everyone's hot on the custodies now. Every team took them bar one.
Yeah, I think all but Scotland have him. It looks like.
So I think there's not too many surprises. A couple of people trying out some factions. World Eaters seem to have just gone out of everyone's minds. Only Anthony Vanello is sort of sticking hardcore with those. I think it's the only person at the event winning World Eaters. So.
Well, let's get into them. Let's look at these teams. So as I look up on the screen, top to bottom, we'll go Belgium first. So they've gone for. Most teams are running this basic core 5 of Necrons, Custodes, Craft World, Space Marines, Sisters, and Death Guard, and then it kind of splinters out from there. They have got a Vanguard Tyranids and an Astro Militarum list to round out their 8. So, what do we think of that in terms of team balance?
I like those. I think they're going to do well. They are. You can see that they don't really have any of the outliers other than NIDS, but NIDS are still like 3 out of the 8 teams taking them.
I think in the like the standings WTC, Belgium are probably a top 10 team. Maybe some years they've been a top 15 team, but certainly a top 10. But they'd love to be a top 5 team. So I think that they've come armed for a tournament where they're definitely going to push to be. They're not going to be pushovers. Do you know what I mean? They're not bringing wacky lists and fun lists and just trying it out and having a laugh. They brought 8 players that know what they're doing on those lists, and they brought sensible lists. I think the only one that I maybe guess was maybe the Guillaume Resrix's Vanguard Nids, but again, that's a good board playlist, and that has played to some things like craft rolls and stuff where a turn of battle shots can completely screw your opponent up.
Yeah, it can completely swing around.
I think they're also one of the only 2 teams that actually took Knoptek Court, because if you actually have a look, I think Pumba's Piglets in Belgium took Knoptek Court, and everyone else took Hypercrypt. So I mean, there's definitely something there in it. It's especially if Pumba and his team were taking it in the Belgium.
Who was running their Knoptek? Oh, I guessed it was this one. So they've gone Void Dragon, Hexmarks, Technomancer, Transcendent. So two Catan. Triple Doomstalker, Scarabs, triple. Yeah, I mean, it is a great board play in WTC. It's interesting to see whether Canoptek or Hypercrypt does the business. I think Hypercrypt is more of a prey list that wants to go out and shut certain things down. Can't play everybody. Canoptek's a bit more flexible. You can just throw it forward and go, I'm probably going to give everything a game.
Yeah, I think so. And I think taking the 2 Catan in Canoptek is just putting your cards out on the table. You're like, okay, I'm just going to sit there and I'm going to try and hold primary, and I'm not going to really try and engage with you. That's just there to grind out 10s, and then some armies will if they can't play 18 race, probably just end up dodging it. So I don't see it scoring very high. It'll just be solid. It'll be really solid.
So in a very similar setup right next to them, you've got Duda's Dudes, which is Michael Duda captain last year, or the captain this year actually, for Poland. And they've got Hypercrypt, they've got Custodes, they've got Craft World, which Duda himself is running. They've got Space Marines, they've got Sisters. Then they've got Tyranids. It says, I've got a little summary here that says Swarm. Might have a look at that one. And then they've got Grey Knights and Renegade Knights, I believe.
Drakari, isn't it?
Interesting. So you've got the Sisters list.
Oh, it's not Drakari. No, what we're talking about.
Okay, Renegade Knights.
Yes, must be.
I mean, they've got an interesting Sisters battle list with lots of named units in there from Typhus, just being a legend. The what is it? The collectioner of white French flags, Dialogus. I particularly love. Oh yeah, Pumba, the Castigator, and American Scottish Traitors Executioner, Exorcist. But they've got that. They've gone the Grimaldus Space Marine Horde, essentially, as this one with a Land Raider in it. So that's quite interesting. 3 big blocks of...
Yeah, that's very solid. The Law Land Raider, the Poles.
Yeah.
They'll all show one of them in.
Yeah, they had one last year. It's the same guy, I think, running a Land Raider again. He just loves that Land Raider, having it in there, so that's not too bad. What's there? Zoza's running their Necrons, so they've got Nightbringer, Voidbringer, Transcendent. So 3 Catan, just to push that down a little bit more difficult path into, and a Monolith, which is interesting.
And
Played against one of those.
I mean, I think the Monolith is going to be a common theme amongst a lot of the nations.
Very hard to kill, very good board control in terms of some objective games, right?
Yeah, it's just got tricks. It's got really nice tricks as well. So
interesting utility list there from Zozo, and then you've got the Custodes list, which is blocks of Custodes. What a shocker! The one I wanted to get to, they got the Brigands and Friends with Nurglings. They use demons there, and Duda's Eldar. Shout out to Duda's Eldar. Duda has long been pushing the WTC meta Eldar before there was Data Slate or anything, and he already had 5 Wraith Blades in his Eldar previously. He's got the Avatar, and he's running 10 Wraith Blades, and he's got just loads and loads of little stuff. But no D-Cannons, which was interesting, because we'll see a bit of a theme of those a bit later.
I can respect an Eldar list that doesn't take indirect.
I know. I mean, I can respect the man. I can respect the man that doesn't take indirect. To be fair.
Yeah.
Jumps. Jumps, eh, Naz? Jumps.
Yeah, I know, right?
And then you got Paladins, Dread Knights. You got their Grey Knight list is interesting. There must be more play to it than I see. I think it's not as strong as some other Grey Knights lists, but I'm happy to be proved wrong. But we'll see. Lucas's list.
The Dread Knights. I
Double
was
Living
taking
Grandmaster, you can't go round, but there's no Drago. You got a Strike Squad, double Razorback,
10.
Interceptors, 5 Interceptors, and then double Dread Knight, 10 Paladins, 5 Purgation, 5 Purgation, 5 Purgation. I get the Purgations are good, and it's a bit more reliable shooting you throw on the board. It's more MSU to play the missions. But I think
it's a very squishy list.
that's exactly what I felt. Having played a recent game with my Eldar into one of our other applicants running just blocks of Terminators, very hard for me to deal with because I just don't scratch them unless he fails us to saves.
Paladins are so much less durable.
Yeah, he only has the one break, right? And also the Paladins don't resurrect, I don't think.
They don't. They don't.
Yeah,
they don't just.
so...
Yeah.
They don't resurrect. They're less OC.
Well, Poland have got a mixture of vets and new players, and this is to test for them as lists and concepts and players, all sorts of things. Very similar to us. I think we'll skip England and come back to us at the end.
Yeah.
Should we go have a look at France then? Now, Naz reckons that the French lists feel from conversations he's had, because he's our man with contacts everywhere. The French might not feel as happy with some of their lists. Is that fair, Naz?
Yeah.
They've gone Hypercrypt, Custodes, Craft World, Space Marines, Blood Angels, and then they've gone Chaos Space Marine and Demons and Tau. Tell me, Naz, but you do this one.
I do this one.
Yeah, talk to me about it. So let's go. We got Arathas running his Craft Worlds.
Yes. All right. So with his list, what is it? Well, he's got a classic, Fuegan, Autark. He's got a fastest guy runner, which we're seeing more and more of. He has your Vrain, which I assume he's got the Guardians.
He's got a Guardian brick, and he's got a Troop brick, so he's got the flexibility where he puts it. To be fair.
Yeah, he's got a Troop brick. I think it almost always goes in the Troop brick. Yeah. So I'm surprised he's not running the Troop Master in this variant with the just 5 Holoquins instead of that Falcon. But I guess he has that Falcon just for 5 Fire Dragons, which feels alright. It doesn't feel as good from my perspective. This was like a take on Liam VSL's list with. I mean, I think it's almost exactly his list, but swap in 5 Warp Spiders, the troops, the 5-man troops, and the Troop Master for 5 Fire Dragons, an extra Shadow Spectre squad, and an extra Hawk squad.
I mean, he's got triple Shadow Spectre, so that's okay.
Yeah.
He's got triple Hawk, triple Shadow Spectre.
He only had 2 spiders.
One spiders. Yeah, but he's gone for the Sky Weavers, which gives him some more reliable, just ignores cover and all sorts, just more wounds. And then, you know what? I don't necessarily mind Fugan and 5 Fire Dragons in there, because he's got the Fire Pike in there. So it might be, as we discussed as well, that he might be attaching Fugan to that squad just to give him some ablative wounds. And then they really do come out and rinse something. They could just get out and the tank in the squad could shoot one thing, Fugan can shoot the other one. But if you're going to go for the plays of Fire Dragons, get out, advance, throw grenades, shoot their guns, you don't take the Fire Pike, you just take another Melter Gun and get your shots in. So there's little hints about where he's going with that one.
Yeah, I think so. I think
good man.
Yeah, I mean, I do think it'll do well. I mean, it's Zelda, right? Let's not kid ourselves. 4 nerfs isn't.
Let's keep going. So they've got Eldar. They've got MSU Eldar though. So no Wraith Blades, no bricks, no Avatar in that one.
No D
You've
cannons.
got their Necrons.
Yeah, so the Necrons. What is this? Hypercrypt.
Is this one we're going to come back to, or is this one that Chris just wants to tear apart now?
I think Chris should tear.
No, we're talking about it. We're not tearing it apart. It's got it does have interesting choices.
It is very interesting. That's true.
So it is Hypercrypt.
It caused some debate when it came out late last night amongst the England team, because some of us, like myself, I mean, I love planes, so I think the Doomsides are cool, but Chris,
look at this guy. Look at this man. Look at his words. Cool.
So yeah, he's got a Chronomancer, Plasmat Circle, Nightbringer, Void Dragon. I know it's pretty standard.
Is this the list that you wanted to go into depth on, Chris? I apologise if it is.
Well, we'll go through it. We'll go through it now. Okay. Let's just have a chat. We'll just cover that.
Open Pandora's box.
We're here. We'll just go through it. He's got 2 units of 10 Immortals. Obviously, Chronomancer, Plasmats go in there. That's fine. Death Marks, Scarabs, 3 Locusts, just all chaff. 2 Locust Heavies within Mythics. I actually do like this, and I've been contemplating doing this myself by dropping the Lord and just taking 2 units of 2, because 24 shots will just kill a little like a chaff unit anyway, generally. So
It's
it's
100 points, so it's decently cheap.
exactly, it's 100 points rather than your
But you trade that all day
200.
for 5 warp spiders, won't you? Or or even just like two
Yeah,
warps to draw a
exactly,
feed. That's great.
exactly.
Yeah, great.
So I like that. I really like the unit too. 6 Tomb Blades, they're okay. I just think they're just a bit too squishy to take in 6s. I'd rather see those 3 units of 3. Yeah. And then the last piece in the list is he has 2 Doom Scythes. Now, I'd much rather see a Monolith here and some stuff rather than 2 Doom Scythes, just because of the interaction with it. You've got 2 10-mana mortal squads. Fantastic with Monoliths. Now, the idea behind a Doom Scythe, and I totally get it, is that because they're a flyer and you're in Hypercrypt, you can just 3-inch deep track them every turn, so you don't have to worry about them flying in a straight line and just being blocked and not being able to land. You can just take them off the board, put them back down again, shoot from 36 inches away, ignoring all terrain. So they are just little, like 230-point turrets if they don't play any other ranged anti-tank. But the problem when they do that, they just shoot once and they die. 230 points. It feels expensive. But if you get them in the right matchup, if you don't have that anti-tank to deal with them, it could be really good. They could genuinely be really, really terrifying.
That is an interesting one to track over the weekend then. So is that your list to track then, Chris?
Yeah, I'm gonna really keep an eye on this one. So it does.
We've each picked a list, so as we come to them, I don't know which one you've picked, Nassim, so we'll have to see.
Right.
Is it the one we said?
Yeah.
Okay, right. Fine. We'll come to yours last then. So mine's at the bottom. Interesting thing, boys, the pop-ups because it's separate windows, my screening stuff doesn't track the pop-ups when they pop up. I don't think I could set it to track the pop-ups when they pop up.
What pop-ups?
So when you click on Tournekeeper,
you're not recording your screen? You're just recording a window?
I'm recording an input. I can set it up to record a screen, but it might just be that I have to take some screenshots as we go through and to put them up. Do you know what I mean?
All right.
I might have to do that tomorrow, Chris. I might have to do some editing and go, here's a screenshot of the list as we talk about. Let's just keep talking about them.
Sure.
And then I'll just so we've got them, I'll just cut this bit out as well. Is that all right?
That's fine. All right, then moving on to Sako, Salcia, 2022 LGT champion. He's running CSM. I think he's also the
only CSM player.
Yeah, I think he's the only CSM player. I think so.
I think so. Yeah. He hasn't given up.
He hasn't given up. Yeah, he's the only CSM player, so he's still holding strong. You open up the list and you see the bane of last meta, and you hope that it stays that way. Is the triple chaos lords with undivided, which is interesting because they can't go inside of the Nurgle Rhino, so it's a lot harder to keep them safe. But maybe he's trying to leverage the fact that there's quote unquote less indirect in the game and WTC boards, so it's harder to get an angle on them.
Rhinos? There's no Nurgle Rhinos.
No, there isn't. No. They have to be undivided now.
Yeah, exactly. So he doesn't. Wait a second.
So basically,
he doesn't even have rhinos. No, he doesn't even have rhinos.
He
does. He's got 2 rhinos.
He's got 2 rhinos at the bottom.
Where?
Right at the bottom.
Underneath the Forge Fiend.
Ah, right, there they are.
So this list is something I was talking to Boris Michev about the other night in terms of it. If you're going to go create chaos now, you lose a lot of the demony chaff because it's not as good, and you don't probably do two Forge Fiends. It's got a single Forge Fiend to max out the damage because you probably still do okay with real ones, and you just go, right, loads of stuff. And then all the little scoring units like Chaos Spikers with Marks of Nurgle and Raptors with Marks of Nurgle, they can kill things, but they can also just sit on an objective and be your 18-inch away, so you can't just Manticore them or Tank Commander them or Battlesuit them away. You've got to get reasonably close, and then you can leverage the Chosen and the Rhinos and the Lords. And, the Nurgle Rhinos, you still killed Rhinos. It was still a thing that you brought a Rhino-killing tech in your army, even though you knew they could hide one. It was only ever hide one. So I think it's still got the power and the killing this, really.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting. I mean, yeah. I mean, he also has the Raptors with Mock of Nurgle, so like he's got that little bit of mission play / unattack active ability. If it's like some indirect armies, like if people are taking like the indirect of the guard is what we've seen a little bit more of, or the Eldar with the
Well, yeah, because the decannons are short range, you can probably hold objectives, be out of range of them, and threaten you with your own fast charging stuff. Because the Marcus Flanesh talent are fierce as well, aren't they?
Mm,
Well, okay, interesting. Another chaos list, and then what's Tanker got? Tanker's got the demons. Is the demons your
Demon.
list of choice, Naz? Is this the one you wanted to talk about?
Absolutely not. No. That's too much melee, not enough guns. But it is a very interesting list. To say this, I think it's kind of one where a lot of armies, a lot of nations or just people in general were actually quite interested in as a concept. You know, the triple Ren Masters with the Blood Thrones and how modifiers change, so you're able to stack, basically have +3 damage.
But
So
it's
you have what?
not a demon list I've seen in terms of there's no Bellicor, there's a lot of change for some shooting, but everything else is
Yeah,
MSU scoring and fast stuff. But it doesn't all necessarily move through terrain. So it'll be interesting for me to see how this handles heavy WTC boards potentially, because it doesn't
yeah,
want to run at stuff.
yeah, yeah. It's interesting because you said that right there, right? Like you touched at the start. Like there's no Bellicor, so you don't have that safety net for some ranged armies. So like some ranged armies, like such as Tau, can get within range because a lot of them are taking like more plasmas now. You're seeing more riptides because stuff like that went down, and it's a lot easier to get you know stay outside of 18 and just shoot and kill the demon stuff. It's not like the demon stuff is super durable. It's just relying on like 4-up saves pretty much across the board. It's, and
Tanker,
yeah,
we leave you. We move on. We come to this Blood Angels list. I have no idea what this Blood Angels list is trying to do. Somebody tell me, go.
well, he has 5 Usult intercessors, Scott. Those are I haven't seen
Usult?
that yet.
I want to assault you. Gotta cut that
uh,
bit out. Slightly bad French accent. There we go.
Oh, he's running Sons of Sanguinius. Yeah, so interestingly enough, Sons of Sanguinius actually got a buff in the latest day slate. Um, so now your entire army has +2 strength on everything. So like those power fists are now actually strength 10 on the chart over the strength 9, which is a massive breakpoint because it means those captains there can win those tougher vehicles on like fours. And I know they have got a strat for Lance as well, and like in lethals. So all of a sudden, you're seeing these thunder hammers, which used to be like strength, like which we see a strength fate isn't as what it used to be, but are now strength 10 and have an extra attack. So it's actually not too bad. And my assumption is those go inside the assault intercessor squads, those captains, and for what is essentially 155 points, it's a lot of damage, especially since they all have +1 attack now and +2 strength. And with
and
the strats,
reroll. And the rerolls you
yeah,
get from the assault assessors on the charge are they reroll
yeah,
hits and wounds, or is it just
it's
wounds?
it's reroll wounds are obviously not an objective, which is
Yeah.
quite it's quite good. Like that's gonna, I mean, those units actually hit really hard. I think this is probably the cheaper way of taking like what you saw before with what Jack took in his Black Templars with um
It's going for a bit of
the
threat saturation, isn't it? Yeah, I know what you mean, but it's got the 10 Death Company who are going to go with the Marties. Then you got the two
yeah
fives who either go forward or they can deep strike. I mean,
yeah
it. My
and he
woo
could
would be if he goes second into something that can shoot him or engage him. They can wrap stuff, tag stuff, hold stuff back, block the Lancer, block the Impulsor and or the Redeemer, whilst tackling the Death Company. Like it's a careful, balanced list of. It is scary if you let the Redeemer drive up at you and the Impulsor get the guys out and everybody charges. Yeah, it's terrible.
You just can't underestimate this list. You can't go into it thinking, I'm going to smash it, easy, 20-0, let's go.
yeah
It will
absolutely.
hurt.
We've got another classic spelling of Hunter Killer Missile, Hunter Killer Missable.
Well, no, but his one is somewhat correct. It's the French version, and then we have the American version at the bottom.
I know, but
Unfortunately,
the fact that he's called his missile missable in his list makes me upset.
We've also got the tin assault cannon.
The tin assault cannon.
and that's so cannon.
Just
Love
melts
it.
when you fire it. Amazing.
Yeah,
Okay, so that's something a bit unique. And then we've got some. Oh, well, look, some custodes. Terribly boring list. What do you think about their guard list, Naz? Is there somebody who champions Imperial Guard, Astrometarum as one of the top letter lists?
All right, I will.
Podcasts?
I I will open up this statement by saying I do not like Medusa carriage batteries. Just I've said this.
So why don't you like them?
So they run it. So there's a few issues. It's like their saving point is yes, they are decently cheap and they are strength 10 and they're damage free. However, they are also D6 shots. They hit on 5 space. So the best case scenario you can get them to hit on is freeze if you spot and order them. And then they're also not very durable. So what you found with the carriage is what I think the carriage is like toughness, the toughness 7, 6 wounds. So they actually fall over to a lot of other indirect core, quite
You
easily.
don't have to convince me. Toughness 7, 6 wounds is not enough to save you, whereas you got a man score for 17 more points. That's what, T9 or T10?
T10. It's T10.
T10 and 12 wounds?
It's a 11 wounds, but it's a 3-up save compared to a 4-up.
Yeah, that's good as well.
And it has 4 hit rerolls, and also, it has 4 hit rerolls with 5 mana more. But most importantly, it's another reason why I don't like the Magistic Carriage battery. It's 36-inch range. Guess what you do? 36.1. Let it move. It's now hitting you on 4's absolute best case scenario.
But it can't move far. I mean, I know like an Eldar platform moves 3. How much does Medusa
Yeah,
move?
I think it's like 3 or 4. It's not that much either.
It's not great.
But yeah, and I like a Medusa's worst nightmare is if your opponent popping smoke and being like, "Oh crap, am I going to hit now?" It's I don't know. I just rather
Alright.
find more points.
Well, let's see how it does. I mean, it's the other surprising list. But there's a few teams that have gone 18 Bulgrin when they have gone guard, and I think that is a big investment point that takes away from the other utility.
Thickness, thick boys.
Yeah, thickness. Going thick boys. That brings us round to yeah, that's everybody, isn't it? Yeah, Tau at the end with Vespid Stingwings. Bold. Quad Devilfish, triple Riptide, triple Piranha. Tau. Don't know how that does.
I want the crisis suits back.
It's just scoring, right?
Yeah, I don't think it because I played with something similar to it. I like with Kyle, but he's like Kyle had I think another commander and like more breaches, and even then the damage felt okay. Like it wasn't crazy. And like Riptide battle suits are durable, but they're like they're toughness 9, which is like key breaking point. It means a lot of.
Well, we just talked
I
about
wonder
that.
why you like them, Naz. I wonder why.
Oh mate.
At 165 though, you can't argue with it. They're so cheap.
No, you can't. It is very cheap. It's very cheap, but I think you need them in like at least maybe 1 3-man crisis suit unit. I actually think the commanders are a trap, even though they are cheap. Because you already think of bringing down these tower. Now, if they take 3 commanders, you can just take assassinate and be like, cool, I'm going to score 12 on assassinate, worst case. And
well, he's got Shadowstone and 2 others. I mean, like, and then no other characters. She's just going to chill out the back. You can play Learn Up with her. I mean, it's 2 single commanders just trolling around the board.
Yeah.
They're probably just deep strike, dude. Deep strike units for 4 psychic ions that just drop in and go, oh, I've killed this chaff unit. So and then it push. Yeah, just annoying. Interesting to see. I think France have got an interesting selection list. I definitely feel like some of their lists are definitely tryouts, like trying the Tau, trying the Demons. There's definitely choices there. Trying out that build of Space Marines that we talked about. That'll be interesting. The second Poland team is also stacked. You've got Pumba, who is a long-time WTC player running, I suppose, a standard Death Guard Rhinos and Chaos Knights build with lots of like MSU characters, grenades, and flamers all over the place. That's something we've seen before.
He has He has 40 Plague Marines though, right?
Yeah, but he's gone MSU ones, right? It's not gone big squads. He's gone.
Oh yeah,
he's got 5, 5. Okay,
yeah. He's got a lot of Plague Marines there,
yeah,
which they are very good. Oh, he's got 40 Block Drone as well. Look at that, Chris.
Yeah, watch out.
Still
got the Brigands.
And
1 Carnivore. Okay.
Yeah, it's just flex, isn't it? They've got
no indirect.
Guard,
yeah.
prosecutors, custodians.
Just bug standard. Oh no, Alaris.
Yeah, Alaris.
2 6-man Alaris.
2 6-man Alaris is the thing I was just looking at going, is that not a bit unusual? Because I'm used to seeing Custodian, Guard, and Wardens. And
Yeah,
no warden.
there's absolutely no wardens. I don't think. Ooh, interesting. Well, they've clearly done it for a reason, right? I mean, they play considerably more WTC than I think any other nation on that terrain.
So yeah, Poland's whole
Yeah.
tournament setup is all WTC based, and everything is focused on developing the best WTC team for their nation. So it is 100% all their
WTC.
singles play looks at that, looks at those missions,
Yeah.
looks at that style. So it might be a particular list that it might be a counter to a list. It might be that it snipes something out or does some damage, or there's a particular option for it to go into rather than I've got 4 bricks over 6, because that feels like a definite choice. Still got triple character, but okay. So there's that one. Pumpers Piglets. We've got a Drakari. Now this must be a test list to see if this works.
On Atari.
Do triple Void Raven Drakari made me go ooh. I nearly wanted to talk about this one, but I didn't. Double Archon, Beastmaster, Raider, Kronos, Incubi, and it's 10-man Incubis. Mandrakes, Ravager, Scourges, triple Void Raven. I mean, it's not subtle in what it's trying to do.
Shoot.
Got Dark Lances, mate.
Fucking hell, mate.
Oh my! It's a lot of anti-tank.
Yeah, I don't.
Go on.
No, I was gonna say. So I'm seeing a common theme in a few of the lists, just from a few nations. With with just the exception of France, really. That they're putting in like tech, or like a list, or maybe or a list or two to deal with. I guess heavy vehicle armies. I think people were expecting a bit more Chaos Knights, or maybe something similar to what Alex is running. We'll touch on later. With more vehicles, and when you look at it, a lot of the other lists that people take don't actually have a amazing answer to deal with dealing with that many holes. But I think these lists basically actually help out and can pin those matchups. So I think it's definitely good, and it definitely helps in pairings. And it's also no one with vehicles wants to play that really, because they're just going to lose their vehicles.
You see, I think that the Void Ravens are the toughest and probably the best shooting Dark Eldar have. The double Dark Scythe gives you 4 shots with your lances.
Strength 14 as well, though.
Yeah, strength 14 minus 4 d6 plus 2, but it's not single shots, double shot, so that's good. And then the Void Raven missiles are arguably, it's either the D3 shots at strength 9 or D6 shots at strength 7. It's just extra chip damage, and you're going, well, there's 3 of them that can go on WTC, could just deploy on a board edge and go, I'm just going to fly across, and I'm going to get 2 good turns of shooting, and you're not going to kill all 3. And you could rapid ingress 1, and you could go for the bombing run. I mean, the bombing run itself is quite mean. Do you guys know what that does?
Absolutely not.
So after it's made a move, you select an enemy model it moved over, and you roll a d6 for every enemy unit within d6 of that model. And on a 4+, it's d6 mortal wounds. If you've got a big model in the middle of your army, you are taking mortal wounds on everything on a 4+.
Yeah.
That is potentially a killer. Like, you could go line that up for an ingress, fly it over your manticore section, and go, all right, I'm going to start with your character, not character, what's the name? Creed. And then everybody within thingy of Creed, just because she's right in the middle of everything, is going to be on a d6. And it's d6 inches, to be fair. But you could just go for the manticore if you've got, or a tank commander that's nestled in. So many options that you can catch people out with. And I've had that in the previous edition. It's John Swallow, where he was 4+, but he rolled 4+ on like 8 units and crippled them. Yeah, that they could be game winning. And then the combat on the Incubi now is really good. The Kronos is there just to be annoying, really, but Beastmaster packs, I've seen people raving about them. I haven't actually looked up the stats.
Yeah, I literally not.
So they're decently cheap for what they do. I mean, the issues that they have a character in them, so they give assassinate if you play aggressively, but they scout move 9. They I think move like 14 or something. They have like a lot of different profiles in the unit with like 4 wounds, 5 wounds, low toughness and low save, but like it's annoying wound profiles where if you're shooting like 2 damage stuff, it's quite inefficient. 3 damage stuff is quite inefficient. I think there's a Funo pin in there somewhere as well. I can't remember off the top of my head, but like it's just it's decently cheap and very fast for the points. And one killed a monolith on stream LVO.
Oh man! So from what I could see on it, there's no feel, no pain, but they obviously scout 9. They have general power from pain, rubbish, But you've got triple razor wing flock. So you've got 9 wounds of razor wings. You've got 4 wounds of chimera, and then 5 wounds of clawed fiend. And it's all toughness 4 actually now. So you've not got the weak. So they're all toughness 4, all 6 plus invuln. So they're just annoying, but the melee is pretty good.
Yeah, the melee
And they move 12.
Yeah, anti-infantry 3 up as well on like strength 3 weapons is not terrible.
Dev
Because,
wounds on the clawed fiend's fist, sustain hits on the little attacks from the flocks. It's not bad. Reroll charges, reroll hits of 1. I mean, it'll kill chaff units. It'll kill screen units. It's annoying. It's good mission play.
yeah, it's only 105 points as well, so it's actually quite cheap.
I've not done any of the maths on the unit of Incubi now charging out in the new detachment, isn't it?
So it can have reroll hits, reroll wounds, and like +1 to wound. Is basically the combo.
So it's not the new detachment; it's the old detachment, right? Just with the
No,
It's
no,
a new detachment.
it's a new detachment because the new detachment gives you Lance, and what was the other one? Like ignore cover.
Gives you extra AP when you spend your pain token.
I didn't see it was got
Assault
yet. Fine.
Yeah, extra AP and like Lance. So it's like they end up hitting quite hard. Basically, think of like Gladius, Lance, and basically what it is.
And an Archon's still annoying and still has a reasonable invulnerable save. So yeah, that's that. I'll be interested to see how that one does. That might be my backup check on. See how that bad boy plays out. And then we got as far as the next one, which was Gito's running Necrons because he liked Wraiths. So Wraith Destroyers. Is there anything really to say about this?
It's similar to the one
it's Canoptech. I mean, it does Canoptech things. If you play Canoptech, you can be sad about it. Triple Nemesis Dread Knight, Grey Knights for Vladdy. Vladdy is an aggressive player from what I've seen of him previously, so this is interesting. He's going to go right up in your face with...
Yeah, and he's got a Purifier. It's just very damage output. He's just gone, I don't care about living, I'm going to kill you. Although only one Librarian.
Crow in the Purifiers, Champion...
Yeah. Brotherhood Champion with a 10-man squad. So that squad's really annoying. Let me tell you what this squad does. So the Brotherhood Champion with a 10-man strike squad with a Sigil. So Sigil is the enhancement where if you shoot them, they get to redeploy.
Yeah.
So you don't want to shoot them because they'll deploy 9 inches away from you somewhere and then move and charge you with
it's a free
30, 40 attacks.
Yeah.
It's really good. Yeah. And then the Brotherhood Champion gives his unit fight first. So you can't charge them either. Very annoying unit to deal with.
Why don't we see more of that? It's just because Terminators are more durable.
It's just a fringe unit. It can be quite good, but like when they actually fight, they don't actually do a lot of damage sometimes because they have no innate rerolls. They just hit on 3s.
Do you not transfer the strat on him?
It's expensive. It's 2 CP. You tend to not to have a lot of CP with Grey Knights because you use it on all your other tricks.
Yeah. They want the CP for the 3-inch deep strike and the
But it's a really good, just like for that second objective in your midfield. You go right. I'm going to put these guys in a ruin here. You can't really shoot them, and if you charge them, they're going to fight first. So you best charge them with something that can survive, and then actually kill them afterwards.
What's interesting is 2 different flavors of Grey Knights across the 2 different teams for Poland. So that's an interesting. Tweet rather than both teams bringing the same list and going, oh, this guy played it better. You've got an actual Gene Stealer cult list.
It's Marston, isn't he?
Yes, it is. Yeah. So it is Primus, Clan vs. Reductus, 20, 10 Neophytes, and then 10 Acolytes, 5 Acolytes, a Goliath, and an Achilles. No Aberrants, but he didn't used to run them anyway. Do those Neophytes still do anything?
Yeah. I mean, the Neophyte.
The Acolytes.
Oh, the Acolytes. Yes. I mean, they still hit really hard. Like I was testing some stuff out around, and he has the Clamavus. So am I thinking of the right one?
Screwable Cunning.
No, I'm thinking of the Nexus.
So he's got Vect. I mean, so with the Acolytes, you probably go in, drop one in turn 2, drop one in turn 3, pull one out to put in reserve and drop it in for the turn 4 bomb because you can't do everything twice in one go.
No, but you have a Goliath truck. You go inside of a Goliath truck, and you can wrap it. I mean, you can wrap it against the truck, or
I'd put the 2 5-mans in there though.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, it's flex, right? Because he could have the 2 5-man just do mission play for him if he needs it, or he can have like that 10-man instead of an Because that's what makes the most sense for me. Is like you have the 10-man inside, and then you have two 10-mans in reserves, and then the 2 5-mans in also in reserve doing mission stuff for you. And then if you need, you can always hit your opponent with 2 units of acolytes, um, demo charges, and I think he's got the Achilles ridge on with the ignore cover. So even the squad
Yeah.
that's on the board will ignore cover, which is it's still funny. It's
It's
sustained hit.
interesting. Does it still do what G Silical used to do and block you off and pen you in and stop you scoring? Because we've got lists. We'll talk about England soon. That would actually really screw with their table play, right?
Yes, yeah, I still think he does it to an extent because he has the free 20-man neophyte squads. The only issue I think is like those free 20-mans. I think will have primuses. I think he just wants primuses in those
Yeah,
personally.
fair. Oh, no, you 100% need those. If you don't have the primus with reroll hits, those squads are useless, and you have to drop them back in reserve if you can. You have to do it.
Yeah, but no, those squads actually hit quite hard. Or maybe what he does is he has two 20-mans that he teleports around, and he has one of the premises in the Achilles, in the Acolyte squad, and that 10-man, I'm sorry, that characterless 20-man can, I don't know, do something else. Like
Do you
the
do you get
like hold
infinite
up
demo
both.
charges now?
No,
Is that a
Sorry?
thing?
no, you never do. Nothing replenishes. It's one-shot missiles. Sorry, essentially. So when you die, you come back. It's the same squad.
That's gone.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and they finish off with a Votan list that it's just a box standard Votan with 10 hard cards, right?
Oh
It's
yeah, I
just
mean,
Votan minus 1 Sagitar.
Votan didn't make it last year because of points and balance and terrain, and none of it made Votan really an appeal to the top kind of 10,
I think
even 15
I think
nations, I think.
I
Really.
think it's more of a player thing because like Danny Porter's is almost exclusively being played Votan, and I've seen a lot of TTS leagues,
Well,
and
then,
like he
if he
just
knows what he's doing, you'd hope he's refined his list to the point where he's going, yeah, I'm going to be picked, and this is the list I want to run. Just interested to see how it does then into the terms of the meta. I know they're a good counter to some things, but I still worry about them on WTC boards. Be interested to see how that plays out. All right, that takes us through. We've got Scotland, Netherlands, and USA to go with. Scotland are running. Our man Innes has decided to go take the Hypercrypt off anybody else who would claim them as the best army in the game. They got Craft World, Space Marines, Sisters, Death Guard, Orcs, Guard, and Votan. So another Votan there. And Innes is Necrons. Maybe we come back to them last actually because they're not as excited. They've got a Sisters Battle List which is not particularly crazy, but spamming out some of the cheaper chaff units you get from recent choices. I mean, Double Castigator, no Exorcist is definitely a choice. But
no, he has an Exorcist.
does he have an Exorcist? I didn't
Yeah,
see one in the
yeah,
scan.
he has a single.
Apologies. A single Exorcist nuzzles them between two Crusaders and some Paragon Warsuits. What a legend. But I don't think there's anything there that blows minds. Tim Dagnall running a variant of Black Templar's vehicle spam, so he's got kind of 5 medium hull Lancers and Reapers, and then Eliminators and Scouts, a Whirlwind, and then Impulsors and Crusader squads, because they're still OC2, and they had a little points increase, but the rerollable advance and charge, and having a melter, a pistol, a combat weapon, and a melter gun in a squad is a great value, so that's annoying to buy mission play. Their Orcs is interesting.
Okay, man.
Well, they've gone Knob Squads, Mega Knobs, Gretchen, Flash Gits, Battle Wagon, Triple Truck,
Gazgo.
Boys, Beast Snaggers, Warboss, Knob, Mosrod, Captain Badrook, Gazgul. I mean, there's a lot of killy characters there. So they're relying on jamming those ruins first turn and then charging you. Because it's 5-man knobs, they can fit the Mega Knobs and the Knobs all in the Battle Wagon.
Yeah, it's all just MSU. Just go out, trade, rather than the big 10-man brick boost to
Or
take.
maybe the 20 boys go in the Battle Wagon and they all go in the trucks. That is the other option,
20.
I suppose.
Yeah, 20 boys is hard.
Crazy in the Battle Wagon. We saw that used by Sean Naden at the recent LVO. That was really good. So that'd be an interesting table playlist. Bruce, a long-time player for Scotland, is running Morty. Ooh, and a fun selection of Death Guard vehicles. What do you think of that, boys?
I can't wait to do plays. Quite an anal player. I think we all know where I'm going with this. And tries to move Mortarion around the WTC board. Especially if he ends up on a heavy board, because
Yeah.
that'll be a bad day.
Morty, you have to just deploy him sideways and move him like that. He is so fiddly, isn't he, with his wings, with moving him around, trying to get him covered.
Yeah,
Trying to.
It's
Guys,
the rules, though.
Guys, surely he just gives Morty back and he just buffs the quarters. That's what he does with him, right?
I mean, you'd want to do more than that for 325 points, but
Maybe he's just
But-
going to use his beautifully
but-
painted Mortarion to hold his home objective.
Beautiful. Sorted.
To be fair, it's a scary model. It still does.
it's
a
it's
job.
very good. Honestly, I think I'd suggest anyone to take it if it wasn't that model. If he didn't have wings, yeah, fantastic.
Interesting. It's
But
got
just
some,
trying to move him around is horrific. Like you literally rotate his base, like an inch rotation on his base is like 4 or 5 inches on the end of his end of the wings. So you just
maybe
don't
Bruce
get
will
to move.
accidentally drop his suitcase as he gets to the venue and be like, "Oh no, his wing snapped
wing.
off." Well, good luck, buddy. So they've got Eldar. They've got an interesting Eldar actually. They've got Avatar and Wraith Blades with a Night Spinner.
Oh, God,
A Night Spinner, just a utility,
Yeah.
but no other indirect, and then it's just MSU Eldar scoring.
Has he got the?
What coward? Where's the
No,
other
there's
window?
nothing in terms of the shenanigans stuff. He's got 10 Wraith
Avatar,
Blades.
Arcane, Wraith Blades. Yeah, okay.
It's a bit more of a standard Eldar as we start to see come out in terms of we're swapping blades for guard. I like the unit that the Wraith Blades appear to the opponent, but as an Eldar player, I think that they're not that good. I think that they don't really hit in combat like you want them to.
No threat, right?
They
No
don't
threat.
move fast enough, and you go to shoot them and you go, oh, they don't shoot me back. Yeah, that's the thing. That was the thing that made you not shoot the Wraith Guard. Not fly up right next to them and just unload with a tank or with a flyer or whatever it's going to be. So for me, that doesn't do it. And then, oh look, they've got guard. Oh, they got triple manticore. Oh, original.
Good lad.
Losers.
Good lad.
And then Netherlands, rude.
And Votan. You missed the Votan.
Oh, I missed the Votan out.
Yeah.
They're so
okay.
short. I
fine.
just missed them. Apologies, everybody. I can't believe I did that to Chris. He'll be annoyed. Chris Irvine running. See, he's got more of an MSU build. I prefer the triple pioneers. Oh, 18, actually 15, 663. I thought it was just 3 small squads.
I think Danny has that. It's very similar to Danny's actually. It's actually very similar.
Danny's got the 6, hasn't he? I think he's got the 1 squad.
Yeah, in
Oh,
terms of
God,
general
Berserks.
style, there's
It is very
Oh.
similar, actually, isn't it?
much of a much. A few different changes. He's got he has berserks, whereas Danny.
Daniel has it. Just maybe not. Maybe just in 1 squad.
Oh, it is 6 pioneers. As he's got the Thunderkin in Danny's one. That's what he spent his points on. Extra 170 there.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, similar list.
The
Similar ideas.
Votan. There's no real bad choices in the Votan book. It's all pretty good now with the points changes. Go on.
I'm leaning more towards land forts now though than Sagatars.
Ooh, spicy.
Like the two up save with T12, 16 wounds. It's
I gotta
like
see
okay,
that. I gotta see that in a game next. That's gonna be fine then.
yeah.
Well, oh, wait a minute. Is this Rude? Rude is running Sisters. What? I can't
Yes.
believe Rude. I thought was Eldar through and through. Can't believe he's not running. Oh,
Well, sisters are basically Eldar, right? Just stuff to destroy and also vehicles.
yeah,
Like,
rubbish.
sorted.
All right, he's running a Sisters list. They've got Eldar. They've gone for the Troop Master combo in the Fire Dragons and with a bit more MSU, and they haven't got any indirect and they haven't got any artillery. They've got Skyweavers again though. They've got
What
Super
coward.
Hawks, so loads of just MSU scoring stuff. A very tricksy Eldar list. Let's keep going. Florian.
Silent King. Yes.
Oh my!
I've missed this. What?
Well, I thought this would be your pick actually. So
What
I'm
a
surprised.
champ! I have completely missed this. The Silent King. This is hilarious.
I'm going to
One,
shut up.
two, three,
I'm going to shut up.
I'm
when
gonna
you
go through
list
this.
Analysis. Yeah. hit us
Right,
with
so
the list
we've got
analysis.
Hypercrypt, fantastic. Silent King, yeah, he's good in that attachment. He can teleport around, get behind ruins. He's chilling. Nice indirect. 5, 5, 5. Oh, here we go.
This gets better, and I can't
1,
believe you
2,
haven't
3,
seen
4, 5 units of 5 immortals.
Oh
What a hero!
this. Keep going.
Why
Keep going.
are there no
Keep going.
chronomancers
Keep going.
here?
Keep
Spiders, Fladrons, Locusts, triple monolith! What a hero!
I think that
This is-
this has actually just broken my recording setup in terms of Chris's sheer joy. How did you miss this list?
This is the best list at the event. Everyone can go home. This guy's getting 200 points. See you later.
Silent King and Triple Monolith dropping in your ZZ first turn. Boom. What are you going to do about it?
You're
I
easy.
love it.
Yeah,
Yes.
they're just gonna go. Whoomph, there we go. What are you gonna do?
Florian, you are a hero.
Well, you know what's
I love
funny
you
is like
so
this
much.
is actually quite good Mr. Mirror because you just have the monoliths ignore the
This
modifiers. Like,
this
Catan,
goes.
they'll just be like, get gone. It's like,
You got-
get gone. You've got
Yeah,
Catan.
you had
Nah,
a
mate.
Catan there.
Yeah, you had
Oh,
me.
we missed a list in the last one. We didn't talk about Nis. We didn't talk about Nis there, so
Oh,
we should
we'll
go
tell
back
you
and talk about that.
We'll talk about
'Cause-
Ines. Ines is shameless at the end. We're just gonna. He hasn't bought triple monolith and the Silent King, so he's a loser. That's
Triple
absolutely-
monolith Silent King. What a list! I just.
I think
what a
that
hero.
is the kind of list. You see, this is the kind of list that lots of people going for a team event, and this is a prep side of it. I've seen lists like this that are massive skew before, and I think back to when we played Ireland in Spain, and they brought the first. It was the list that inspired me to take planes, but they brought 9 Eldar flyers, so 3 Hemlocks, 3 Exarchs, 3 Kingdoms Hunters. And all the guys laughed at it when it came up and it's rubbish. Blah, blah. And we got to pairing, and without they didn't really talk to each other, and they all going, "Oh yeah, it's really bad for me. It's a red." And so we had to bus Tom Higginbottom that time with new to the team because nobody could beat it.
It's like crushed some people.
No, everybody will go, "Oh no, it's just this crazy list," and then they'll all go, "I actually don't think I could play that." And then they'll go, "I'll put it as an amber because it's bad." And then you'll go to pair with it, and you'll go, "It's got 8 ambers," because nobody wants to play.
I am so happy.
I mean,
like,
What?
How
What's
does
actually gonna kill this?
How does
Nice.
God go into this, Nas?
Wow.
that soundbite right there is going on my phone. How does God into this, Nas? Well,
there's no Zeraz.
the problem with the
Zeraz.
list. The problem with the list
The immortals do die here.
is the immortals die very easily, and
Very
Manticores
quickly.
kill the Silent King for fun.
Oh, mate.
Silent King is going to go into reserve and stay there. He's going to put a monolith on 3 objectives and just go play the game.
Yeah, that's fine.
But the Silent King's in reserve. You really don't care about him because you can't really
The
do
only
much.
issue that I really see with this, and I mentioned it to Chris, is that Silent King model you see that gives up 20 points.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
just 20 points, and you can make up like
Well, he gives it 20 points on his own.
Yeah, on his own.
Yes.
Because each individual Menhir has the same
No, does it really?
keyword.
Yeah.
Is a character, is
Oh
a
my
vehicle.
God, so he is just a secondary nightmare.
He is 12 assassinate, 8 bring it down on his own.
But
Yeah,
then you're only getting 12 assassinate. So
No, but you
Yeah,
take bring it down on homers. Well done.
Well,
'Cause
I'll be honest with you. I would take assassinate so I don't have to do the action. I'd like to say, cool, kill Silent King, 20
you
points.
have enough points to do actions.
But
so
then
you're
if he
good.
just
I don't want
if he goes second and you don't kill Silent King first turn and he just pops into reserve all game, you don't get it.
Not me. Dead if he doesn't win.
That's why you just take bring it down. Then you've got monoliths that are giving up 5 points each.
fine.
6
Well,
points, 5.
If he doesn't bring in Silent King, then that's 400 points he's not playing
I
with.
trust the Netherlands to have tried and practiced this list rather than be something that they thought on a whim we'll take it for lols.
Yeah.
This is
It's
gonna be
very like you'll see. When we get to the England list, we're playing with monoliths, and
Right.
we think they're very strong.
So let's go back to
So-
Ines' list, which has got 0 monoliths. What a loser!
I know, right? Sucks. Sorry, Ines. Where's
Oh, go on,
Fouchane saw
I'm not the
yesterday?
Necron expert, so I'm going to let you guys rip into that. Go on then.
Yeah, Chris, go ahead.
Shall we go? So Ines is playing a list that I tried a couple of weeks ago.
Quad Catan.
4 Catans. So Nightbringer, Void Dragon, and 2 Transcendents. And then just along with a bunch of other characters, which we'll come to him in a minute because he's made a choice that I'm really not. I wouldn't agree with. It's interesting, but the problem we have with 4 Catan is it feels really good because it feels like a very good teams list where you go, if people can't kill Catan, I'm going to crush them. I'm going to win 20-0 because I will just shove them in the face and that's great. But then you look at what those armies actually are, and there's not a lot of them, so you end up having to really protect this list, which is horrible. When Necrons are one of the strongest armies in the game, you don't really want to be protecting it so much. You just want to be able to throw it into a lot of things. So in my opinion, they're just too squishy. Like Catan, you're like squishy Catan. What? They die. they do die. Like there's a lot of armies out there that will just kill one in a turn and not even have to think about it, and then you just go in and then you'll randomly just lose 2 in a turn. Then all of a sudden you're just screwed. Your entire game plan's out the window. So you have to play. Like you can still play those games, but you just have to play them for like draws. Whereas I don't think that's what Necrons want to be doing.
That's
You just
Is there, as a complete random aside, is there no utility around the Deceiver in a Hypercrypt to put stuff in reserve, bring it down, be annoying at a deployment phase? Is there no weird list build there, or is that, am I overthinking that?
I don't think that does anything because it didn't start the battle round on the board, so it still can't come in turn 1. So it doesn't. You get
reserve, right?
You get around 500 point limit, but there's not. Not
Nothing
really
in
putting
Necrons
more than
that
500
needs
points. Yeah, anything that's more than that is deep strike anyway. So can go in.
Okay.
So it's okay. But the big choice that he's made is taking a Chronomancer with a deep strike relic. Cool. And then he's given a Royal Warden with the Arisen Tyrant. So these are going to go together and join a 20-man warrior brick. Now, yeah, with the Reapers. So that unit comes in. It's 40 shots. But it's only 12-inch range. It'll be AP1. He doesn't have Zeraz, so yeah, it's just AP1 with full rerolls to hit and lethals on 6s. So it's okay. It does some damage. Now he's tried to play the survivability route of taking the Chronomancer, but I just don't think the unit achieves anything by doing that.
I think
yeah. Or Plasmancer, then you get lethal 5s with full rerolls. That'll come down. That'll kill pretty much any tank. It'll do a lot of damage to Catans. And then you need a monolith with that brick. If you're taking that, you need a monolith to go, all right, it gets shot, I'll teleport it back. Unless you kill me in one shot.
Let's see then, because I don't think he's played an event with Necrons, so I don't think this is probably he's gone.
No, it'll be interesting to see.
And see what he thinks. But there's
yeah.
Enough of Scotland. We've left them behind. They're not the winners that Netherlands are with the triple monolith build. They followed it up though with a pretty bog standard Death Guard with triple crawler, 1 destructor, cultists, 30 plagues, and 10-10-5. I mean, he's got the Nurglings, which means he's dropped some other bits. I think there's still that feels like a list that our player Chris Radford tweaked away from in the end, but fine, does Death Guard stuff. The Tyranids Invasion Fleet is interesting because you've got a 1-eye Death Leaper, Hive Tyrant, Neurotyrant, Gargoyles, Carnifexes, if we brewed for a 1-eye, Triple Exocrine, Maliceptors, Neuroleptors, and a Maliceptor. 2 Maliceptors, apologies. Harrispex, which one's that one?
Just a tanky one. It's just tanky. It's just cheap tank.
Well,
it's not tanky. It's just the same as an Exocrine, but it's cheap.
It's cheap. It's
it's playing the throw big models at things.
Yeah, it's what Robbo had last year. Had a bunch of them, didn't he? He had 2 of those, triple Exocrine, triple Maliceptor. It was just chunk.
We don't really see that much in the game unless you're a big fan of Tyranids, because it does a job, but it's not that amazing.
Yeah.
Chris is running. Yeah, so he's got a Caladius and then Wardens. Guard. So he's got the 5 blob custodies list. JC's got Gladius Task Force, and he's got Chaplain the Marties, Assault Assessors, Death Company, Eradicators, Infiltrators, Land Raider Redeemer, Scouts. It's a weird old Blood Angels list.
All those Death Company are gonna have +1 to wound, and they're gonna hurt a lot because those Death Company.
Oh no, 10-5,
yeah,
10.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like all of these Death Company are going to hit hard. Even the 5-man that I get to Chaplain is going to hit really hard because they'll get +1 to wound, and they don't need Oath, like because they just have full hit reels built in. Like that is, yeah. I mean, imagine strength 8 +1 to wound, right? It's
an interesting list though.
It's going to hurt.
It's playing into that similar to the, I want to say it was Dudes,
French,
but the French one, yeah. Blood Angels in a Land Raider. Some WTC boards, you can just block that Land Raider off and not care about that unit for a couple of turns. Same issue, right?
Well, over here his issue is transports. Like he can't engage in these stuff in transports because he doesn't really have the he's got two Eradicator squads and a Land Raider. I don't think that's gonna pop like a transport or guys inside a transport. But you're gonna see less of that, I guess, because the main one was like CSM, which you don't see as much of.
We finished Netherlands before we hit America with Difficult War Trike on top of Gazgul, Badrug, Mozrog, Double War Boss, Quad Truck, lots of stuff to go in the truck, some flash kits, double knobs, mega knobs. It's kind of that standard core of units that people seem to be taking for all those things. But then the Warbikers and the Death Killer, just as some more fast combat, flanking. It's another character for Assassinate, but I suppose you either win the game or lose because you shipped all your characters. That's one way to play orcs. And that brings us back to travelling the furthest to USA.
America.
So you've got Vanilla running the only World Eaters list.
Good man. Good man.
It's got a YouTube link in here.
He's
What's
got a
this?
YouTube link in his thing.
Let's
I'm
open
gonna
it
open
up.
this up.
Let's have a look.
What?
Let's have a gander.
It's going to be a fake.
Get your money moving
It's
with
Guile's
Lloyd's
theme.
Bank Savings and Investments.
So on this list, it goes to Guile's theme from Street Fighter. I love that we've looked it up.
Respect.
Yeah.
That's respect.
If for copyright reasons, I could play that on the podcast.
Well, I'm listening to it right now, so it's great.
Oh God! Right.
That's doesn't even know what Street Fighter is, does he?
He's
Yes, I
too
do.
young. He's
Yeah.
too young.
Yes, I do. I played at arcades. Listen,
Oh, okay,
I'm not.
he does.
I'm pretty sure Anthony
Come on.
Vanilla doesn't have the haircut, build, or stature of Guile, but we'll go with that.
Can we get him? Can we get
Get him a Guile suit.
fundraiser going? A fundraiser for a Guile haircut for WTC?
Oh
Oh,
man.
great.
Can we start that?
I'm going to skip Quentin and come back to him. We've got Nick Nanavai running a fine selection of tanks with badly spelled weapons, but otherwise he's got triple immolators. It's just this list he's been trying. It's just loads and loads of stuff, which is a Nick list. Nick loves to have loads and loads of things.
Yeah.
He's still got Triumph, Celestine. He's got the Paladin with the blade. He's got a Null Rod Canoness, triple Seraphim, triple Zephyrim. Sorry, double. Oh, actually, only 20 Arcaflagellants. Interesting.
Yeah, only 20.
They are reasonably costly in looking against the spam he's got on the list. He's just going to flood the board and try and jam up. He's going to be a put forward. They're not going to be praying. Or he's going to pray on something that can't get through that many bodies, and he's just going to throw them at you. He's a good player. He knows what he's doing with that. Triple Blade Champion, Trajan, Custodian Guard. What do we think about this? It basically is like Josh Roberts' list from last year for England. This Custodies list.
Yeah, I think the Caladius weakens it.
I agree with that.
In terms of a defender list, because there's a few armies out there that have anti-tank that will just kill 2 Caladius in a turn, and now all of a sudden you basically have 3 less bricks on the board.
I feel like Caladius are a play that you take as an all-comers list a bit for singles, and then maybe that was Josh's feedback from last year that maybe you don't have those and you go just bodies or scoring or assassins or something just to make the game better. But it'd be interesting to see if it depends.
It doesn't make sense, because if you're going as a defender, you're going to want to pick a heavy board, but then you have 2 grav tanks that won't shoot very much, and you just I don't know.
Shout out to the next player, Brian C. Brian, shaking off the shackles of being a mercenary for Scotland, stepped up to get a place in America. No, but Brian's is a quality player, been to WTC a few years now. I think he's got a really good chance to get in the American team.
Oh, there's
Best
another
of luck
theme
to him.
song.
And he's...
Yeah,
tell me what it is. I don't want to...
Yes,
I know I'll get a YouTube flag for copyright infringement if I don't play it. What is it this time?
Unstoppable, covered by Bongo Cat, mate.
Amazing. So he's got Mosrog, Gazgul, Captain Badrug, Nob, triple War Boss, 20 boys in a battle wagon, 10 flash kits of Gretchen, and then
You just copied Dayton's list from
Snaz wagons to help
with the exception of the Dakar Snaz wagon, Dakar.
Yeah, but Brian is going to be really efficient with that, and he's going to be super aggressive if he needs to be. Like he
just jams. He's going to run. There's not a lot of armies that can deal with this much pressure. I'll be honest with you. Like this is quite good.
Next is one of the only other 1,000 Suns in the event, alongside our one for England, which is
Michael Mann,
and he's running Ironman, double Exalted Sorcerer, Infernal Master, Maggie, 2,000 Sun Sorcerers, and then it's 1, 2, 3, 4 units of Rubrics, Zangors, Rhino, Mutalith, Triple Enlightened. It's as MSU as you can make that list now, I think. Is that a fair way to talk about that? There's not really anything where you'd go. There's no big 10-mans, there's no big units, there's no Terminators, there's no blocks. You take in Magnus every list, which
it's the only way you can really build.
And everybody loves taking Magnus. So a bit like Mortarion for Death Guard, he really just carried the force of the list.
If they didn't have Magnus, they'd be trashed here. They'd be awful.
So that's an interesting list, which can catch you out though if you aren't used to what it does in terms of damage, speed, and positioning.
Yeah.
Gonyo's gone for Necrons, and he's gone for Hypercrypt, hasn't he?
Where's the towel, mate? Where's the towel?
Hypercrypt.
Exactly the end, isn't he? Curse letter. Yeah. He's got a monolith. Fair play.
Hey!
Void Dragon.
But 2 lots of 20 Necron Warriors.
Yeah, I can respect taking the 20 warriors with Zeraz and a monolith. It's durable.
Good. It's durable and it's good. Yeah, no, I like it.
You've got one squad. Yeah, here you go. So you've got one squad with the Chronomancer. So they're your tanky squad, and then you have a damage squad in the Plasmancer. So they're getting crit 5s with 4 rerolls.
Yeah. And that's
so
what we'll talk about within this list, isn't it? Where you would tweak the war gear possibly, or the characters.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, this beats the mirror as well, surely, because like the Catan don't kill the warriors, and the warriors do kill the Catan eventually.
Yeah, warriors will kill the Catan, and then you can't tag them because they'll just get pulled out of combat with the monolith.
Did you say there's a Tau list now? Because there's no Tau list here for you.
No. I was just because Gonyo's just been playing his Tau for God knows how long. And
well, he must enjoy having an actually fun army to play then. So now we've got Space Marines. With I mean, I don't like this list. It's Vanguard Space Marines, but what they've done is taken the list that came second at Worlds, taken the 3 squads of Eradicators, jammed it into 1 squad of 6, and that's it.
1 squad of 3.
And 1 squad of 3, and gone, well, the aggressors completely drop from the list, and everything else is the same. Oh, no, sorry, there's 5 henchmen. And I'm going, well, that list already struggled with vehicles, it already struggled with damage, it already struggled with board control, and now you haven't got 6-6. You've still got 6-6-3 in the Inceptors, and you paid the tax for that. You've got 3 Eradicators that were iffy on killing vehicles. You've now got a big blob of 6 that infiltrate with Marnie's Calgar. But where's that extra 3rd unit? You're playing the game with the Scent Devs and the Eradicator blob. And you've got 2 big things dropping in. That's
maybe
it.
he thinks that's enough.
I don't see it, dude. I've played a lot of Space Marines this edition since the new codex came out. All sorts of variants against it and with it. I don't. You two got to argue me down here. I just don't see the damage in that list.
I don't think
it's very different.
I personally don't think it's as good on the WTC boards at all. I think that list probably is better on UKTC, where like the corners there's like no terrains where you can drop them there and get angles in places. But I don't think you're going to get the lines of sight that you normally do on GW and UKTC or the terrain sets that they play on with WTC. So I think like the Scent Devs here actually, I mean, they still need them for form of anti-tank, but yeah, it's exactly what you said. They're going to struggle with the board control.
That brings us back round to the last last list for America. It's Quentin's, and Quentin, everybody went, oh, he's just run Eldar. It's just that. No, he hasn't just run Eldar. He's the only person to run a Wraith Knight since they were nerfed, and it's a Scathach Wraith Knight, and he is running Wayleaper, an Avatar of Kane, a Farseer Skyrunner. He's got the Scathach Wraith Knight. So that one, guys, it's got 8 shots at 24-inch range with his Infernal Lances and 2 Stock Cannons. They are doing reasonably high strength, D6 damage, -4 AP, and then Melter. So the main thing with that is it doesn't have -1 damage, but it has the ability to, once per game, drop it into reserve at the end of your opponent's turn, and then obviously you can ingress it or deep strike it next turn. It is great. It really is. As an offensive Wraith Knight, because you just throw it forward. I do think it'll be mainly bombing around the board, going reroll hits and fire and fade, whilst the Avatar holds a middle point. And to help him with that, he's got my second favourite unit in his army, possibly third behind the Avatar. Triple support weapons with D-Cannons. D-Cannons now are Eldar have just pivoted and gone, oh no, you've nerfed our Night Spinners. Oh, these are cheap. And taken 3 of those. And you should 100% do that in every Eldar list that you run. And then triple Swooping Hawk, because they're just crazy for their points. And triple Spiders, because even 115, they're really good. I mean, I feel like he's taken all the tricksy little options you got for Eldar and just gone, I don't need that.
He's a knight.
He doesn't really give up Assassinate particularly well, unless you kill the Avatar, the Farseer, and the Autarch twice.
You're never taking it.
You don't take that there, because you just don't commit the Wayleaper. You've got enough scoring. And then the Scathach, for some armies, I think it's a real pain.
Does it have deep strike?
Oh, yeah.
It has deep strike, yeah.
Also, something else that is important. The raw agile, actually, I think is very important. because it means so not a lot on like the WTC terrain, right? Like at least on the mediums and the lights where there isn't like the big ones. You can move over those parts that are 4 inches because they're 4 inches or less. You just walk over them, so you don't have to pay move it for it. So it's actually quite speedy again over across those, like decently well, because they just like and anything that's 4 inches or less, they just ignore, which is big, which is those parts.
I mean, I can't say anything apart from I love the fact that he's got a Scathach in there. I think it's got some great options. I think Agile is really good. I just think the Webwation is potentially scary for a lot of builds. And if you're already scaring mech builds with D cannons and threatening them off middle objectives, now you're going, okay, I'll pop the tank with a D cannon, and then I'll shoot the Scathach, and I'll clear out a squad with eight shots from Melter at close range, and 4 shots from Star Cannons, and then I'll move 12 inches. And he's not bad. He's OC 10. So he can do some... You can commit him and throw him away to go, all right, we'll go stand on that objective then, and he'll hold it. And
Sorted.
yeah, it does give Eldar another solid mid-board play piece. I don't know if it's good into certain things in the meta. Like, I don't know if this really helps it ramp up its damage into Grey Knights, for example, or to Hypercrypt Necrons, which I think are a hard counter. But you look at some options like the Space Marine Vanguard list that America brought, and you go, does that want to play this?
Mm.
You know, like what does that do? What are those Centurions doing to dig out 3D cannons that control the midboard? Can't do anything.
They can't.
No, so I think it's a really clever list, potentially. I'm really interested to see how he does over the weekend, because that has definitely got fun weekend at a GT feels. Well, I explain to everybody what that race night does. That definitely sounds fun. And that brings us back round to the champion team for the weekend. It's going to be Team England.
England.
So we obviously hope our boys do very well, but we've got, for this event, we've got Matt Robertson, one of the other vice captains for this year, who's leading up the team. There's him, Chris Radford, Tom Higginbottom, Will Whitaker, Josie Cartwright, Raf Harbinson, James Ramsey, and Alex Harrison. So a real mixture of, let's see, 1, 2 players from previous years, from last year, another 2 players who played with us previously, and then 4 new players and a coach, which I think is a really great place for the team to be in. They've got loads of experience from all sorts. Some people in there play for different teams in the country. You know, you've got particularly Chris that just won the ITT with Ignite as a standout there. Will has really won some GTs and the UK TC big GTs this year. Josie is always playing on TTS and plays loads of games there. Raf is Warmasters and plays lots of different groups and all sorts. And then
I formerly went to WTC or ETC with Fantasy.
Raf, there you
yeah.
go. And Raf has got WTC pedigree in playing with a fancy team, but not 40k. So that is, I think, is a pretty strong team. And I know that when the list came out late last night, they were really pleased that they feel they've got answers, because we have taken a weird composition. So we've got Hypercrypt, we've got Custodes, and I suppose there's not too much crazy to talk about there. We have done a double monolith Hypercrypt, so I think that gives us some real issues for some people. If they can't handle a monolith, here's 2. With double Catan or no Catan?
There is a Catan, but we should have taken
Boy
a third
Dragon.
monolith.
Yeah.
Fair.
Listen.
Yes.
And then the Custodes list is 6 bricks, right? It's very similar to what Manny Chima just ran at the recent win this weekend at Northampton. We've got a Space Marine list that is a list that Alex Harrison has been doing well with recently. So he's been refining a mech-heavy Black Templars, because they get multi-melters on their tanks for 5 points, because sure, that's great, Games Workshop. So that is, I'd say the tweak point in there is he's got some interesting infantry choices, and he's got a Storm Raven, which gives him some great reach that a Whirlwind wouldn't. And so I think that's a great pivot from having a tank or 2, like an Impulsor and something else, for a Storm Raven. Feels much better for me. Gives us a real clever plays. So that's good. We've got Death Guard. So Chris Radford has been refining a Death Guard list that's ended up a bit more mech heavy than some of the previous ones we've seen, but I think plays quite well. Tom Higginbottom is an Orc expert, has literally only been playing Orc. He plays other things, but Orcs are his true love, and he's been playing them now for, 3 or 4 editions, I think. To be honest with you, is where I'd go with that. We've got Matt Robertson on the Custodes, because Raf Harbinson switched over to the Grey Knights, because they felt that gave the team a bit more balance in terms of matrix and options for certain lists. So that is a Terminator heavy build. No Grey Knights, Dread Knights, in that Grey Knight build. And then Will has pivoted away after our giving him stick for many episodes of this podcast about running a Cursed. He's gone over to Thousand Suns, and now he's running the powerhouse that is Magnus with, again, another kind of MSU build style Thousand Suns list. I haven't talked about one of the lists, though, have I, Naz?
No, you haven't.
You've talked about.
Yeah, mate. James Ramsey, that's my name.
Nassim is going in disguise, so if he gets any penalties, it will get to go to our coach, James Ramsey. That's going to make playing in the Italian Masters at the same time quite difficult, isn't it?
Nah, mate, easy.
Do you want to tell that story now? Do you want to tell that story of what's happened this week?
What do you mean? You go ahead.
Okay.
Oh no.
Last week, about this time, James was like, "Oh, what list are we taking?" We're like, "Oh, we'll put him on guard because we didn't have guard at that point." We're like, "Oh, okay, we'll put James on guard because he can play whatever." Cool. Who's got a guard army? Anyone got any models we can borrow? Naz. Oh yeah, you can lend mine. Yeah, no problem. Cool. So we're like there, day before list submission, just sorting out, making sure everyone's got the right models. Ramsey asks Naz, still good to lend your models. He goes, yeah. You can lend them that weekend. I'm in Italy the weekend after or something. And tells the date, and it's the same date. So if we'd have left that up to Naz, we would have had no models. That'd have been good. So good job, James checked there at the end, because we would not have an army.
It's fine. It's in the end. It all worked out. So what can I say apart from you're welcome?
You can say sorry. That's the other thing you can say. You could say sorry. You're welcome. Honestly, outrageous. But enough about that. What about the actual list? So why is this a good guard list in your opinion?
So this. Well, I really like this list, right? I mean, like you two have seen me just absolutely just smash on the group chat about guard, about
It's only lost, mate. It's only lost.
Nah, mate. Nah, mate. That's cap.
It's only got 2 Manticores. I mean, what?
So, the beauty of this list, right, is I've kind of going a little bit off the previous success that I had with my other list. I went through a few permutations. We had 1 tank commander, 2 tank commanders, 2 Manticores, 3 Manticores, 5 indirect pieces, like 3 direct pieces, how many bookers to take, how to deal with certain armies that maybe God are not able to deal with, as well with, and essentially trying to find that balance, which I think this army probably more so than other variants that I've come up with, or like just in general, I'm actually able to have answers. I mean, you have seen me just essentially message the group chat almost every day. Have speak with Ramsey almost essentially every day with everybody else in the team, trying to come up with solutions against guard, solutions for guard, then what they might not do too well these. And it just feels like list ticks most of the boxes. There's a few lists out there that you still don't want to play that will remain unnamed, so that the other nations don't know. But no, I really like the list. I mean, this is a point for point exactly what I'm taking to the Italian Masters as well as one of my 2 lists. I just think it's really strong, especially on the VTC terrain. Definitely one of the ways to go.
I love the debate that started with the 40k Fireside podcast putting up their tier list, had guard at the top, followed by a selection of there's Reddit, there was Art of War I think you spoke on, and there was where every time somebody says guard or Ashen Retirement are good, you get somebody come up and go, no, but they're terrible, but they're bad. I'm like, well, no, a good player will stack loads of high shooting, high strength stuff that hits on a 2v rolling or a 3v rolling, that has a really good AP that forces you onto an invuln if you've got one, or just forces you onto 5+ or 6+ saves, and just pulverizes your core units. And you're not going to win that game. There are very few armies that will. I think it must just be a lack of knowledge of how these guns work. Like people looking at the book and going, oh yeah, this is the gun. It's not going to kill that much. It's this many shots. Do you know what I mean? And missing all of the bus around it and all the strats around it. Because even with 4 indirect pieces with the Immortal to chip in, the double tank commander in there is really good. You've got the characters, you've got the Bulgrin to block and play the mission, and you've got triple Kazakin. Oh, double Kazakin? Triple,
mate.
Still really good. And the Scout Sentinel's just to be on. I think it's as refined as you can make the guard for for an all-comers list that has a reasonable amount of artillery. You can definitely skew to be more artillery, and you can definitely skew to play less and play a completely different version that catches people out. But I think it's a strong version of guard. And with that, we have covered 64 army lists. It's pretty good, actually. It's a pretty good chunk. We did well for what?
An hour and a bit.
We're about an hour and
that's all right. Flying through it.
Well, I mean,
25.
Where do we think then that leaves us? Is there anything? I think we covered that at the beginning. Is there anything that surprises? I think apart from the monolith list that literally made, I'm going to record that soundbite for the titles of the next episode.
Unbelievable!
Oh my god, yeah!
It's the opening salvo of this podcast. Triple monolith.
If you aren't this happy at your upcoming wedding and/or birth of your first child, you're going to be in severe trouble because there's evidence. But what do you think about the pods then? So the way this is working is that based on previous year's rankings, and obviously because it's Poland hosting it, the two Polish teams are in different pods. England's pod is England, Belgium, France, and Dudes. So teams 1 to 4 on.
Pumbaa's Piglets, isn't it?
I thought we had Dudes.
England's making out the pod, nice and easy.
And then the other team is Pumbaa's Piglets, Scotland, Team Netherlands, and USA.
Yeah, I think it's 1 to 4 and then 5 to 8.
I think it is that. Yeah. So I think England after list reveal are a bit happier about where they were. I think it's a proper knife fight.
Oh, 100%.
To find out you brought your plastic spork when somebody else has brought a machete would be upsetting. But
I would.
I think we're in a good spot with lists. We have not taken Eldar and Chaos Space Marines. We didn't have an Eldar player really in that group of 8, but also I think you can make a decent 8 that don't have Eldar and still has options for lots of things. And maybe people planned that they would counter Eldar with this build or it would do that. I don't know if Eldar are necessarily in the strongest spot in the meta from where they were. But I think that's because they're just yet to really find their footing. But I think where do you guys think we fall in the first pod then? If it's us, Belgium, Dudes, and France, how do you see that pod working out?
I think it'll be tough. I think definitely have an advantage in terms of lists. Vis like I'd say vis the French. I think.
Oh, he's called it. He's called it out. He called you out, Team France.
Said it. I mean, we just need to get like that guard mirror set up. Easy penny off Ramsey. Sorted. No, but like, it's gonna be tough, right? Because there's especially like with Dudes and France and Belgium, like they're taking things more so France and Dudes that we haven't really maybe tested as much against, so maybe we don't understand as much. We know what the CSM does, but like how does it play now? The way
I think I think there's a very good chance that they'll have played our lists on the WTC format missions set up before, and we won't have. I don't think that any of our lists are too revolutionary that people will go, I have never played this. Maybe our Necrons and maybe our Space Marines are a bit of a curveball. Apart from that, I think the Custodes, the Grey Knights, the Death Guard are Death Guard. They do have little tweaks in them, but none of them are kind of like the quad monolith list or the Chaos Space Marine MSU list where you go in, don't quite know what it does. The Scathach Rate Knight where you go, I think I know what that does, but it could just blow up, or you could be using it aggressively, could be defensive with it. It comes down to player style then and approach. I think you're right. I think I'm pleased that in the pod, I think that England have the capability to win all the games. But then it just becomes 8-man team events. And you know what? I said to the American captain in the WhatsApp chat yesterday, I've got no predictions about where we'll come out of it personally because it's a really tough group. Nobody's brought the chump team or the novelty lists. It's really great. And on the other side, same thing. Like USA aren't going to travel all that way to bring rubbish lists and have a bad time. Netherlands are always really strong and want to step up to that kind of top 4, top 5 position at WTC. I think they've got a good team this year. Scotland have got Innes commanding them all through some top of the meta lists, and they know what they're doing. They've practiced on those factions. That's probably why he's on Necrons. They haven't got a Necrons player. So he stepped up and gone, well, you know what? Tim Dagnall plays Space Marines. That works for me. And then Pumbaa's Piglets. I think Pumbaa's Piglets is arguably just as good, if not better, than Dudes.
Mm-hmm.
in terms of you've got experienced tournament, experienced WTC level players. I think they're a really good team. It is going to be interesting, but this is what we need to do at the end of the episode. I want a ranking from both of you on where are England going to get up in their pod. Let's go. Top England pod at the end of day 1. They played 3 games. They played the 3 other nations. Give me the ranking, top to bottom. Nassim, you're the guest. You get to go first.
Oh, I think it's going to be either England or dudes first. I will
you have
say.
to pick one. That's not how a ranking
I know.
works. You have to tell me.
I know. All right. I think. I actually think dudes might probably take it against us.
Dudes at 1.
Oh, he's done it. He said it.
He's done it.
England
Locked
at
in.
2, Belgium at 3, and then France at 4 because France just wants to be Belgium. That's why.
Dudes.
England.
England 2. Then you've got France. And then you
No,
got
Belgium. No, Belgium third, then France, mate.
Belgium, then France.
That is
France
gonna,
last.
you're going to be receiving some death threats, but that's fine.
Listen, Belgium is just civilized France, is what I hear.
They can get you when you're safe in Italy that weekend. And then go on, Chris. What do you think?
That pod, I think. No, it's quite different actually. I think England will pip it.
Okay.
Got to put the respect there. I think it'll be dudes, then France and Belgium.
Disrespect.
Okay, and we take it over to the second pod. Where do you both think of that one? Chris, you can do that one first.
I'm going first here. I'm gonna have to go Pumba's Piglets, then US. Oh, maybe the US. No, Pumba's first, then US.
Then Netherlands.
Yeah.
And
The triple monolith. It's got to be Netherlands, then Scotland. Yeah, guaranteed.
Naz, what about you?
Mine was actually going to be USA, Pumba, Netherlands, and Scotland last. Pretty much exactly the same. except
Scotland,
who's first or second.
Belgium, France. You've got things to prove to these boys. Prove them wrong. Go out there, smash it all up. Let's have a top play between Scotland and France for the final game. Or Scotland, Belgium even. Top tier game. Do you know what? We've been to Home Nations, we've been WTC. These teams have beaten each other, drawn against each other. There is such a high standard of play at this event. This is why we said, come back to the beginning of the podcast, we said we were all kind of a bit sad we're not there. Naz is taking a place at the Italian Masters to go and play. What was that in aid of, Naz? They do that every year, don't they? Invite somebody reasonably famous or if struggling, you.
They invite I think 2 international people, and they have basically they have them play against their number 1 and number 2 ranked players in Italy.
Amazing. I mean, they can't get more international than a Team England veteran who's also claims to have Algerian descent and be a Frenchman by heart when he was at the World Champs of 40k. Aren't you like an honorary Scotsman after your first WTC as well?
Oh yeah, I'm just I'm a bit of everything, mate. I'm a mutt. That's what I am.
You're a team mascot for many of our WTC friends. Well, that is all available on Tourney Keeper. You can find that in the link below on this episode, whether it's on Podbean or it's on YouTube. Make sure you check us out in a couple of weeks. We've got the event next weekend, but we'll probably wait for the full debrief before we kind of come back on. We might get Naz on, we might get somebody else on just to kind of talk about how the event went and what they thought about it. But this is the next big Team England event as we go. And then next month we're going to be playing a TTS scrim against France. So we're probably going to talk about the lists and set up for that, which will be really interesting. And otherwise, gentlemen, I think we're going to wrap it up there.
That was good.
Perfect, yeah.
Naz, thank you so much for coming and sharing your guard-loving wisdom with us.
You're very well. I'll send you the fee afterwards.
Chris, I've never heard you sound so happy about anything.
I love monoliths.
Great.
What a hero.
I have so much joy in your voice.
May you find the joy in your life, listener, that Chris finds in Triple Monolith. Catch you next time. See you later. Bye, guys.
Bye.